Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of CKCB Features, the interview show that we do whenever we have a guest on to talk about things as that are not related to just a random true crime story. um, this is actually part 3. We're going back to the Canada Binge and the subsequent second episode that came out of that when we had Desti on, who grew up in the His Rest Christian Fellowship cult, led by a psychopath named Rima Dean. And what an insane story that was. I don't remember. Damn it! I've had so much going on. I forgot to write down the episode, but it's during the Canada Binge, so it's always back.
It's 100 and something.
I don't think it was 100 yet.
No?
I don't know.
But the second one was or something.
The one with Desti on it was 100
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But I don't think that maybe it was.
We can double check that in the future.
Yeah, I'll get it and I'll put it in the notes. So if you want to go back and look for, just I don't know, but just look at the notes and you'll be able to find it. If you want to check out those other 2 episodes first, they'll be in the notes. So anyway, I'm Bill, and with me I have Dan, who was also raised in that crazy ass Canadian cult, and I gotta say, Canadians, they do their cults for real. I mean, Anthill Kids.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen how we were in the trenches? I mean, they wrote the Geneva Code for us, so I mean, our cults we must take to the next level, right?
Yeah. I mean, thank God Canada didn't have a Jim Jones, though. I mean, that's on a different level, though.
Yeah.
So when the story that I had initially done during the Canada Binge, that was, basically it was this cult, and it was run by this crazy woman. She would perform exorcisms, flog people, beat people, and everything. There was a whole list of things that you had to agree to just to even be considered for membership. And I can remember saying back when because I read over the entire list on the episode, and I can remember Paul, my co-host at the time, we were saying it's just like, okay, any one of these and I'm out.
Yeah.
We couldn't really understand the mindset of somebody.
Should have checked out long ago.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, you've got a lot of cults will love bomb you to get you in, to draw you in.
So everything they do seems to be a act of love in some way. Yeah.
Right. Rima, she just basically says, I'm going to treat you like shit. I'm going to run you through and you're going to like it. It's
a very odd. You'll read in the. You'll read up and see that a lot of it was controlling a few other people via a small group of people she could control. It was a proxy control.
Right. But it was just insane, and I mean it does. The main subject of the episode was a boy named Nate and a boy named Ricky.
Yeah.
And that's what the book was centered around. And Nate, unfortunately, Nate is Desti's older brother.
Yeah.
And he's no longer with us, unfortunately, and we covered that. But still, the way that he went out and everything with what his ex-wife did in the hospital by denying his parents access to him. I mean, there's a little bit of satisfaction there. I mean, it's a crazy, powerful story and everything, and it's a cult that we were talking about this before we started recording. Now, this cult is not known, and as far as I know, CKCB is the only podcast, true crime podcast that's covered it, which is insane because it's one of the more insane stories.
Yeah, hands down.
So today, we talked about Desti's experience in it in part 2. So today we're going to talk about kind of your experience and how, in the downfall of that cult and basically how it affected you as you came out of it, because you were pretty young. Well, you're still pretty young, but when you came out of it, so you were, and I also know what that's like to be, basically a kid coming out of that when you're finding out that everything that you knew was bullshit, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to be in. It's a hard place to be in. Um, you could say that I probably didn't deal with it as well as some people did.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. It's
Yeah, but a lot of people that come out of that, wind up in drugs or alcohol and or crime or whatever.
yeah.
You name it. They're going to spin out of control, and some people lose themselves for it. And
Yeah.
I guess you could make the argument that I kind of lost myself due
Yeah.
to
Well, you try to find
alcoholism.
a coping mechanism that fills the hole that was left, right? Like when your
Right.
dad leaves, you usually problems gravitate towards the yeah, right? So I can only understand it would be the same way in any kind of cult scenario, and
Right.
you will be able to kind of gather that a lot, and I'll actually kind of go into that the way like my growing up and all that, how I was kind of affected and how I had coping mechanisms due to that.
Right.
So, is there a specific point you want me to start at? Because I don't want to go too far into like the past. I want to kind of stick to more to the present,
Well,
or like in the last 10-year effects.
o-
Because yeah,
okay. How about okay, what year did the cult like officially fold? Was it
it
it was
was
after Rima died, wasn't it?
officially folding. No, officially folding was around 5 years before she died. Because she moved out into
Oh,
the
that's
out
right.
west with her son. That whole thing. We tried to uncult the church, and it didn't exactly go as well as we'd hoped. It was all right, but the damage was already done. We couldn't really save what was left, and damaged people can't make a good thing, right?
Right. Well, I mean, they can, but
Well,
not when you're. Well,
not using what is left
if
over from
all you know is this crazy doctrine that you've been
yeah,
had literally beaten into your head, if that's all you know, then how are you going to change it to something different?
exactly. That's what I was gonna try to refer
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it became. I'm pretty sure. Did Desti mention what it became?
I don't remember. That was a while
Possibly.
ago.
Does Light of Hope mean anything to you?
Maybe.
Okay, because
Don't
we
know.
we tried to rebrand, we tried to remake it with no tyrant at the head. There was no like control. There was no more exorcisms. There's none of the crazy stuff.
No more
But
exorcisms.
yeah, no.
No more of her pulling the sleight of hand and putting a freaking envelope full of syrup and food dye into
Yeah,
your mouth and
I
saying
don't.
bite this.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the because Dutch people love druppies and the licorice and stuff, and a lot of it's either like the transparent or it's the black stuff. So if you're pounding a lot of it and you're in like emotional distress, usually you get sick to your stomach, right?
Oh,
So I
okay.
can imagine why people would throw up black in a situation like
Well,
that.
yeah,
They're all pounding
when she
druppies.
when she's sitting there, well, her and everybody around is screaming at them and everything and beating on them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess your stomach is gonna reject that. Just like okay,
Yeah,
done.
yeah, no. Getting nervous in any scenario like that. Stage fright, but 100 times worse. No. So, so yeah, we didn't have any more of that. It was all it. You know what? It was like the best way I could put it would be like either a Pentecostal or Free Methodist home church is basically what it ended up being. But it was a number of factors that kind of ended it. The main thing was the house that we were doing in it's old, so
Right.
kind of ended it. There was nowhere to do it. People moved away. It was more of like a split up by proxy rather than, this is dangerous or damaging. It was more of a split up because no one could get there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Desti, now that I think about it, she talked about, how unpleasant and not at all fun Rima's last days were, and that was all by
Yes.
design by by the people that were, in
Well,
charge of her.
yeah,
And that
it
was
was more of, I think it was less of revenge and more just like scenario because her original husband was living with her oldest son at the time, so it was just like it just ended up happening that way. And then as far as like having to wear pants and all that, it's just easier to deal with as a PSW. I can because my mom was a PSW for a while, and she said it's a little easier to deal with. So I can understand. It probably was less of revenge because it wasn't like her son was an evil person. He was actually a very nice man. I met him, and he
well,
wasn't.
she did deserve a dose of her own
Oh,
medicine,
hands
though.
down, hands down, hands down. Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that. No, but I'm just saying, it was a move of, it was a, what is it called? No, sorry, it's not Ex Machina. It's
Poetic justice.
poetic justice, hand of God, thing. It was not at all revenge on her older son's part. No, he was a very nice man. I met him.
So the Colts folded. You're how old?
I remember getting baptized at 12 in Rima's apartment. That is after the whole original cult folded, and we weren't really doing it. But I remember she was still kind of in a pastoral position. Her health was really failing, so I had to have been somewhere in between 13 and 16 is when it, because there was no like official folding. It was just her health deteriorated more
Right.
and more and more and more and more, and she was awake less, lucid less, and she was just unable to function. And I cannot remember the exact date when his rest kind of was done with and we flipped it over to Light of Hope, because we were technically doing the whole house church thing under the his rest name for a little while without Rima, even though she was still living in Ontario and all that at that time. She just wasn't available and was never there, right?
Right.
So I can't give you an exact time, but it was in between. I was probably an average of around 14 years old was probably when it kind of went under officially.
Okay. And you're how old now?
I'm 22 now.
Okay, so we're talking like not even a decade out.
No.
So the ramifications. Okay, once you've broken free, okay. So the light of hope thing obviously didn't succeed. So
Yeah.
so what happened? What happened then? Because I know that when the cult that I was raised in folded, my mom was still looking for
That
another.
same kind of,
Yeah, basically a church. If you're hearing fireworks go off, if people are still
yeah,
lighting leftovers
celebrating New
from
Year's.
New
Yeah.
Year's Eve, yeah.
Yeah.
For
So,
continuity purposes, we're doing this on January 1st, and
yeah.
this is only the second episode that I've ever recorded in the new studio. So
Nice, nice. What a privilege.
it looks a hell
So
of a
yeah,
lot better than it did before.
yeah,
I mean, God, it was just because I was sitting in the dark. It just looks so much
yeah.
better.
It was the lighting was. I did see some of the previous like interview episodes, and the lighting was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the best I can probably give you is sorry. What was the question again? It was
um,
how.
how did you and your family cope? But,
Oh,
and I brought up my mom because she was looking for
yeah.
basically somebody to control her.
Yeah, so actually, it's actually become really, or at least for my family. So we stayed in the same area. We moved to, I won't say where the cult was. I'm sure you know by now, but we moved to like to the Greater Toronto. No, we're not part of the Greater Toronto area. We're you probably don't know it, but Pickering, Ajax, Oshawa, that kind of area. That's where my parents ended up moving. And there was a little bit of like a limbo period where we were between houses. We had, the family split up. Me and my parents were working down in the city, and my siblings were all doing school online up at the cottage. And but we finally settled in that area, and they found a church there. I believe it's a Pentecostal or a Methodist church. But they're not like striving for that control. It's a very nice church.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't agree with some of the theology, but it's still a very nice church. It's not toxic at all, and it won't.
well,
It is a world of difference from the cult, at least.
lots of cults come, wind up forming as offshoots of Pentecostal,
Yeah,
because you get somebody that says, "I can do this better," and
yeah,
then they do, and it's not better.
Yeah.
So,
No. So, and I think the thing that really helped was that limbo period because the our church we would because we'd go up when we were done working for the week, we'd go up on the weekends to the cottage and be a whole family because if you had to be separate to work, you could at least be together as a family. It's hard, but you make it happen. And so we went to church up there. It was way up in the sticks. So it was a church full of all old people. They were all so really, really sweet. And I think it was that I don't know how to call it, but it was like a rest period to kind of get us out of a high demand church environment where we were very much used the way cult members are, straight
right,
into a church that everyone is very much cared for, and it's just like a very good environment, right?
right.
And then they went from that to the church down where they live now, and then they serve in that church. I think my dad's the worship leader or co-worship leader now, and yeah, it's a far better environment. Yeah, so
Uh,
they did use some of the like the positions, like my mom being the next in line after Dean. She went through Dean's Bible college and all that, and was taught how to preach and blah 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 blah. So
So
she at
why
least had
weren't the
those.
why didn't the Haywards step up? I'm just curious
In what way?
to take over because it seemed like they were like the number two family
Uh,
in that church.
I don't remember exactly what happened. It was before my time, before I was born. I remember a little bit when I was very young, but there was some falling out of Dean and Sharon. I don't know. You have to
Oh,
ask
that's right.
Desti to get.
Yeah,
You have to
I
ask Desti
remember.
to get a better
She
grasp on
said
exactly what started it.
she
But
said something.
essentially, I have a feeling it was just there was so much turmoil in the family. The parents were spread far too thin, with Ralph being burdened with so much responsibility, and with Sharon being taken away from her kids all the time, and then the misdemeanors and actual misdemeanors of her sons, and Desti getting sidelined, right?
Right.
So I have a feeling it was a combination of all those things, and it was a kind of Dean or Rima saying, "Look, I can't control these people anymore. It's probably not a good option to have her as second in command. I need people I can control." And so
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what age my mom was when she went right into training and said, "You're going to be the next in line." I think it was once again a slow process because they went into both my mom and my dad went into her Bible study thing, like a preaching teaching thing when they were teenagers, and that's when they had their marriage arranged and everything. And yeah,
Well, Sharon and Mr. Hayward, I can't remember his name, but they were an
it's
arranged
Ralph.
Ralph. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
in an arranged marriage as well.
Yes.
But I just a little update for people who've listened to part one in the Canada Binge and then the interview with Desti. Desti recently has gotten married
Yep.
to the guy that
Got her out.
got her out of that, and like super happy for the two of them. This guy is an amazing guy, and it's kind of funny because I was watching because if you've listened to part one, the original episode that I did on the cult, I was brutal on her
Yep.
parents.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting there watching the videos and everything that were taken and everything, and they're just being, loving parents and all that stuff. And it was kind of hard for me to, my mind didn't want to accept that these loving people were the same people that I totally
Yep.
annihilated on that episode.
Well, it's
And
difficult because life is never black and white like that.
right,
Yes, there's villains, and yes, there's evil people at the top, but honestly, if you had the whole story of my parents, if you had just the part where you know my mom early on in my childhood was training, it was a cult leader in training. If you
right.
had just that part, you'd think she was a horrible, egomaniacal, awful person.
Well,
The
it's the
same way
same thing.
you,
It's the same thing with my mom.
yeah,
I mean, if you listen to my two episodes, episodes 10 and 11, If you listen to
Yeah.
them, I mean, my mom's going to come off in a really bad light. It doesn't mean that every moment of my existence with her was cult hell,
Yeah.
because it wasn't. But and we did reconcile before she died. So but it seems like Ralph and Sharon and Desti have reconciled,
Yeah.
and that makes me happy.
Yes. Yeah. So it was very much the same way of me slowly discovering things. Was it gets you a little more insight on, look, it's not all their fault. They only have so many things they can control, and just like me, they literally grew up in it from pretty much birth. So I do not hold anything against my mom. Was there things she could have done differently, and could she have stood up? Absolutely. But I'm not going for one, I'm not going to hold the past against her. And for
Right.
two, I'm definitely giving her the benefit of the doubt because of her childhood situation. She was taught this was the way things were, this is normal, this is how we live. So,
Right. So, I don't. This may. I have a surprise for you.
uh-huh.
I got an email a couple days ago. It
Really?
was somebody who says that they were from His Rest or His Rest Christian Fellowship,
Yeah.
and sent me some things. There was what is called um, a sin log or something.
A
But
sin log?
yeah, a sin. Well, basically, the word is escaping me right now, but it's basically where you have to log all of your sins and everything.
I mean it doesn't sound familiar, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, is there a name on it who wrote it or
Well, the person asked to be anonymous,
Oh, okay, okay.
but for example, it's just a sin log. It's like for example, I've got one up on my screen right now. It's just as somebody took a picture of something, and it's like May 12th, Monday, was put on from PD's story about betraying me again for pride and idolatry.
PD probably stands for PD stands for Pastor Dean. Uh,
For what?
Pastor Dean. So
Oh,
Reamer
okay.
Dean Ailing Scott, she was known as Dean, so Pastor Dean. Yeah.
And then May 13th was put on second step for not seriously taking the first step in warning pastors not being open with Sharon, that's Hayward,
Yeah.
about the family, about censorship. And these are sins. These are sins that people are are basically logging.
Does it
Another one.
does it say a consequence?
No, or not yet. I mean, I haven't gone, like, I haven't read through the whole thing. I was just
I gotta take a look at these. This sounds wild.
yeah. Okay. Wednesday or May 14th, sent repentance letter, but and somebody else felt that they could not receive it, not repenting of what the Lord and pastors had said. We spoke about this. Then,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. I think we
May.
need a little more inside knowledge to completely understand what this means, but
Well, apparently
odd to be
these
sure.
apparently these are all sins. May 16th, Evelyn's dream, dark hair and closed eyes, and then in parentheses it says about herself. And then May 16th, Rita's dream, afraid of Greg. So apparently, dreaming can be classified as
Uh,
a sin.
Dreams were I will tell you, dreams were huge in the cult. It was Dreams were what dictated pretty much everything. And unfortunately, the problem with that is busyness of mind and confirmation bias will cause you to, and a lot of stress will cause you to dream about the very thing you're like hemming and hawing about. So that I can foresee that being a huge problem with, should we do this? Should we do that? And then you have a dream about it because you're so stressed. And it would be a problem because if you didn't dream, you probably weren't in the spirit, right?
Well,
So I remember
if you
that
don't,
being,
if you don't dream, your brain isn't functioning properly. I mean, everybody
or you're just
dreams.
in deep around. Wow.
Yeah. May 16th, somebody's dream. Evelyn did not want to talk with Levi like everyone else.
Okay.
Um, But
Yeah,
you know,
these are sins or just like a like an order of things that happen. These are do they have like a condemned or
it
like
says
a you know
in summary, after going over the dream, since Ralph dreamed that everyone in white, except for a lady who at the time we felt was Tante Evelyn, there,
that's his
there,
mom or
there have been no bad dreams about any of the Haywards except for three bad ones about Evelyn. One of these was similar to Ralph's dream, which was said person on May 16th that everyone was willing to walk with Levi, live the uncomfortable Abraham life, except for Evelyn. We feel that this means that all the Haywards except Evelyn can be taken off with the warning that the Lord said that in communion that that the communion dream that no one should feel that they have earned forgiveness by new life in parentheses no green clothes. And
wait, say that again. So no, none of them should understand they have received forgiveness. What?
we feel that this means that all the Haywards except Evelyn can be taken off with the warning that the Lord said that in that communion dream that no one should feel that they have earned forgiveness by new life in the parentheses it says no green clothes and that there is still much spiritual work to do. And then in parentheses, communion happened before the workday was over. So I have no freaking clue what any of that gibberish means.
Okay, neither do I, but one thing I can tell you is that forgiveness comes through grace, not through making sure you're, what did it say? Spiritual work?
Or wearing green clothes?
Or yeah, wearing
You've got a
green
green shirt
clothes.
on, you heathen!
Yeah, no, green clothes mean I am forgiven, remember?
It says no green clothes.
Oh no, I guess I'm in trouble. I gotta make sure. Oh yeah, because I gotta be in white to be forgiven or something, right? That's
Yeah.
wild. That's wild. I thought green would be good because it's like go.
Oh,
Oh
and then
wow.
then there's this whole thing about the report of the Haywards.
Oh.
But yeah, this report of the Haywards is what it says from the week of May 11th to the 17th. So maybe I should have probably read that first.
Does it say a year?
No,
Hmm.
I wish it did, but
I probably can't give you insight unless I know a year because it might be before I was even born.
well, I mean, Desti's not on here. But yeah, this is the report of the Haywards. It goes from May 11th to 17th. Doesn't have a year, but
Okay.
it covers Ralph, Sharon, and we're just going to call them J and P.
Okay.
There's two
Yeah,
others,
those
I guess.
I know who those would be.
Okay. As you know, I already used Ralph and Sharon's name repeatedly
Yeah.
on the first episode, so there's
Well, they're open source on the online court documents too, so yeah,
okay.
readily available.
So it says April 29th, Ralph was put on lack of diligence as parents for not going after Jay with his schooling, told not to send repentance notes but to call.
Okay, I do remember that. So Jay was doing I can't remember exactly what he was going for. He was doing some sort of bookkeeping or some kind of financial something, and he kept slacking off with his doing his SAT tests and stuff because everyone in the cult was homeschooled. So if you wanted to go into post-secondary, you needed like SAT scores, letters of whatever from colleges, online college courses if you could get them, any kind of credit you could get towards post-secondary. So I do
So
remember something about that.
so why would so he wasn't supposed to be trying to further his education?
No, he was just slacking.
Oh.
I don't know if that's what he wanted to do and then he was just slacking on exactly what he wanted to do or if they were forcing him towards that path and saying do this and he was like, "No, I don't really want to."
May 13th, Mom's dream said that Ralph was painting black walls white and she got a good scripture about it. May 14th, Ralph's dream was that he was the last one to receive communion and everyone was dressed in white. Yeah, I should have read this one first. But Sharon's dream tells that Ralph didn't like to eat the egg in the shape of an eagle. Why? Overcoming new life. What the?
I don't know. I guess we're having kids' meals now. Freaking
Well,
animal omelet.
I mean, if this happened today with the sentiment that a lot of Canadians have toward the United States, I could see it. But yeah, we kind of feel this, we kind of feel the same way. So don't.
No, I get it. It's a weird time. We hate ourselves too. Don't worry.
Well, anyway, um, if I got an egg that was shaped like an eagle, I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, is it like hard? Was it on purpose shaped like an eagle, or is it just like
And how do you
a?
determine whether it was an eagle or a hawk or what? I mean,
I don't know.
that's pretty specific for an egg.
Yeah,
Was it scrambled? It would have had to have been.
maybe it was scrambled and formed with one of those cookie cutters. Who knows?
I don't know. That is just odd. May
The dreams
14th,
usually were.
Ralph called Pastor Dean to say that he was repenting of, and for parentheses, what? Um,
It doesn't even know in the
yeah,
letter there.
yeah. PD
Okay.
and Joanne talked later on the phone to him again and said that one area the Lord is encouraging him. At the same time, he would need to address not wanting the egg, as well as being a father to um, Nate. More than just prayer.
Yeah.
I had to change the
Yeah.
name to what we were calling
Yeah.
him. But he has to repent for not wanting to eat an egg.
Yeah, I guess whatever that meant in the problem is it's another person's dream, so that's what makes it so difficult. And you'll see a lot of that through the cult history. Is there's a lot of I don't even know if I'm sure some of it is. I don't know if some of the dreams were fabricated. I'm sure a few of them were. It's
Well,
not out of the
of
realm of
course they were.
possibility.
Like 90% of the testimonies that people would stand up in church when I was in a cult, they were all bullshit. That these dreams,
Yeah.
I had a dream that yeah, I mean, I made up one when I was a kid too, and
Yeah.
my mom announced it to everybody. Oh, he had this dream that blah 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 blah, and everybody's like, oh, your son had a vision. Vision.
Yeah, only some are given the gift of dreams and visions.
And then they quote
it's-
quote the
yeah.
scriptures like the young will see visions, the old will dream dreams, and
That's not to say all the young will and all the old
right.
will. It's like,
Well, Journey said only the young,
yeah.
but I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
It's all right. It's all right.
It was there. That's all that there is on Ralph. I mean,
So this goes
this goes from Jay not slacking with his schooling to
yeah,
Ralph's dreams
yeah.
about
It's
an
odd.
egg that's shaped like an eagle.
That's very odd. I wish I wish I knew what metric they like what book or any kind of guideline that they would interpret dreams by, because it would give me a little more insight onto what exactly is being said here.
Well,
But
it's the Book of
unfortunately,
Rima. It's the book of it's dream.
there was no book of Rima though. That's the problem. If I
there
could get
there
my
was.
hands on one.
It was in her head.
Oh, of course. But I mean, like if it was a physical book that I could have in my possession, it would make it a lot easier to understand these kinds of things. But unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah, I really do feel like a kinship with like you and with Desti and everything because of this.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's just
Oh
like
yeah.
when she reached out to me, it blew my mind. I was just like this is cool.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot going on, that's for sure.
yeah. And then now we go to Sharon. Sharon. R.I.P. Ozzy.
Sharon.
R.I.P. Ozzy. I wonder what Rima thought of Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, she was probably horrified by him. Yeah.
But April 29th was put on lack of diligence as parents for not going after Jay with his schooling. Same thing as Ralph.
Again. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Spreading the punishment as thick as we can for as little as possible. Okay.
So this isn't so much of a confessional. This is you ratting out other people. Am I right?
Sounds like it. It's what it sounds like. I mean, it's I couldn't tell you to be sure to for sure, but that's kind of what I'm getting. It's more of like a catalog of who's done
A
what rather
catalog. A
than
catalog. I
yeah.
like that. I like that. Catalog. That's good. May 3rd. Due to stories that she was leading in her family again. Oh, May 3rd, off due to stories that she was leading in her family again. What's that about?
When it says story, it means dream because we always called dreams stories. I
Oh,
remember
okay.
that. So it would be like, so and so's story, Dan's story.
This is crazy. This is the nuts and bolts. This is the
Yeah.
that author that wrote the book in my mother's home, which I have
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, right
Um,
there.
it's David Carter with Brian Ward. But you can get it on Amazon. Cha-ching. But yeah, I mean, this is nuts and bolts that guy's not gonna get. So this is fascinating to me,
Yeah.
just looking into it and whatnot.
And
And
it,
I've
it's
got
hard.
another.
It's hard because for me, it's like, yeah, that's kind of what happened. It's very, well, it's not normal, but it's like, it's not spectacular or like groundbreaking for me hearing it and saying it again, but to see people have their reaction like this, I'm like,
Right. Um, May 13th was put on space for not dealing with issues in the home, not being open about Evelyn being C apostrophe D, idolatry, and wanting peace. What is C apostrophe D?
um, say, what's the context again?
Maybe it's coerced. I don't know. Was Sharon was put on for not dealing with issues in the home, not being open about Evelyn being C apostrophe D, idolatry, and wanting peace.
Oh, my guess would be condemned, and I think that was the terminology they used for censorship.
Oh, okay.
And it was
Okay.
like
It
a
censorship.
removal kind of thing. That's my guess. I remember something like that, but I can't
Censorship
be
was
certain.
mentioned in that summary
Yes,
before, which
censorship is more of a.
I'm gonna read
It
that
was,
summary again when I get through this,
yeah,
just for
if I remember correctly, censorship is more of a Catholic thing. And because because a lot of like the newer like Baptist, Pentecostal, Methodist, all those ones, like the Protestant denominations, I can't think of any of them really having that kind of thing because well, the Catholics they used it more as a like a weapon and like a tool. Oh, who knew? And a lot of they do it to a lot of like the more powerful leaders, right? You see it in history. So I don't know exactly how much and to what extent it was adapted. I remember hearing a lot about it as a kid because I remember that my uncle, my grandpa, Ralph and Sharon especially, they would be like a lot. They would
right.
be excommunicated or condemned a lot. And it was always for or at least for my uncle and my grandpa's case, at least for them. The reasoning I remember it was always rebellion, which I assume is a synonym for standing up for people who are being wronged, and inappropriate behavior like playing Christian music that is not a cappella at work. So like yeah, if you listen to Reliant K, you're a big sinner.
Or Striper.
Or Striper, yeah, if you're an oldie and a goldie, yeah.
Oh, the hey.
Yeah.
Fucker. uh, I'm young at heart. Damn it.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
but but I mean the way that they justify in the cult that I was raised in, the way they justified Christian music being a sin, like Christian rock,
Yeah.
was because it used the same beat that like the satanic African tribes used, to work themselves into a demonic frenzy.
Uh,
Would
no,
would
it
that be?
didn't. But like,
Would that be?
okay.
But like, hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's four
I mean, you can
four.
only get so basic. I
It's
mean,
the same beat that's in everything. It's just the
yeah,
same beat that's in your gospel songs that you sing at church.
yeah,
That's the same
yeah.
beat.
They just don't have a drum actually counting it out. It's just there
Right.
still.
And they have
Like,
electric guitars playing in harmony, usually with a guy with a man that with an incredible vocal range. Anyway.
yeah, no. Well, it's just like the lead singer of Skillet, I believe it was John Cooper himself said, anything the devil has, Christians better, God better have it better, right?
Right.
So if the devil has, satanic rock music, then God better have, Christians that are playing rock that's 100 times better, and that was been his whole thing. So I don't know
Well,
why
which
that
is
was such a
which is
problem.
why Stryper has been around for as long as they have,
Yep.
and still, and they're putting out the best music that they ever have now,
Yeah.
which is saying a lot because the stuff that came out in the '80s was pretty groundbreaking as well.
Yeah.
But May 14th, repentance note from Sharon seems thorough.
Is it good enough for us? You got to find out.
May 15th, Sharon had a dream that she was in gold pants. May 16th, Mom had a dream that she should talk to Greg and was not afraid anymore.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay, let's see if I
I'm
can.
tr-
Okay, who
I'm
was
trying
this?
to
Hold on.
remember who Greg was. I think he's
This
some
was
far
this
extended family.
this was Tante Evelyn's catalog.
Oh, okay.
Who is Tante Evelyn?
Tante Evelyn is either I can't remember if it's Ralph's mom or Sharon's mom. It's one of the two. It is one of the two because she lived with them. I'm pretty sure it's Sharon's mom though.
And she's
So,
ratting her daughter out.
uh,
That's cult.
I think because she was good friends with, she was pretty much the same age as Rima. So I think it's because they grew up together. I think that's why they had. I don't know. It's way before my time.
I don't think they
She
grew up
was
together because
no, no, no,
Rima's origin story is actually pretty
no.
fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. Well, well, here's the thing. I don't know how much of it is true and how much
Oh,
is
that's
a
true. How much is
girls,
a
how much
Rima
is a
fabrication?
Rima fabrication glorifying, because if you really think about it, all of her war stories are like, I was so heroic, I was so awesome, I did
That's
this, I did
true.
that. It was none of it's like, we hid under the table and we were cowards, because that's what the
Right.
majority of people were doing, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah, it's probably a bunch of bullshit.
yeah.
Uh,
I do know that that Rima's dad was like the most based guy around, and he was like an inventor, and he hid Jews during the war. I don't know in his own house or if he had like a safe house somewhere, but I know that he did help, or at least help the resistance in some way, shape, or form. But Rima was only like 14 at that time, so the amount that she could help and her utility wouldn't be
I don't
incredible.
know. People were built differently back then. I mean,
That's true. That's
you had
true. I
you
don't
had
doubt that her older brothers did something because they were some real firecrackers, but uh, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe 14-year-old girls were accustomed to guerrilla warfare back then. Who knows?
well, I think anybody could be accustomed to
Oh
it
yeah.
if the
If the
situation
if the
called
time
for it.
called for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like if some like if Red Dawn were to happen in
Yeah.
if that were to happen in the United States, and I mean,
There
well,
would be a lot of
there
children
would be a lot
prepared
of
for, yeah.
yeah. But the whole concept of that movie is stupid because those planes would have
Yeah.
never gotten into the United States for the
No,
Russians to
no.
invade. And we're not even going to talk about the remake where it was North Korea that did it.
Oh, the
That's just
remake
so
was so bad.
stupid.
The remake was so horrible.
Yeah. I watched it one time and I don't even think I made it the entire way through
Don't,
it.
yeah, it was very B movie like. I couldn't finish it.
Yeah. I
It
couldn't.
was
I
a huge
can't. I
B
can't
movie.
even give it props as a B movie because it took itself seriously.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, well it was honestly COD Ghosts did a better job of, American invasion, and that was some South American communist conglomerate, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, they did a way better job that.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's
Hashtag, but
that
I
tangent,
digress.
yeah.
um, Jay, April 29th was put on for not doing his course on time again. No diligence,
Again with the school.
judging around. Yeah. May 11th, he dreamed that he was fighting with P. Now we move on to P. May 2nd, he was put on, what it says was put on space. It does that several times. What is
It just
put,
says space.
well, it has the space symbol, the dash.
I don't know what that means. I can try to find out, but it will
Don't worry
be
about it.
a notes and comment thing. I won't be able to figure out in the next, hour. It'll be like weeks from
Was
now.
put on notice, maybe was put
Maybe?
on,
I don't know.
but that because that seems to be the context that it is. Um, May 2nd, P was put on. We'll just call it put on notice. Put on notice from story of judging J. It's got to be put on notice
There
or
was a
something
lot, yeah,
similar.
there was a lot of rivalry between them. I remember that.
May 11th, Desti Dream. P still judging J. Um, you said there was a lot of rivalry between them.
Yes.
Uh, May May 12th, Dream P not taking correction seriously. Has incident at work with Kevin. May 12th, Dream P not taking correction seriously. Has incident at work with K. May 16th, repentance from P. Seems thorough. And that's all we have here of your catalog.
Lovely.
I love that catalog. That's awesome stuff.
There's a new term to go right along with the case worseners, right?
Case worseners. Yep. Oh man. So the catalogs. How did that
Now,
work? Were you required to? I mean, were you required to document what
I
what you were?
from what you're saying, it seems to be it's not like a personal thing, so it wouldn't be like, so if it's a catalog containing all of the Ralph and Sharon stuff, I don't think it would be Ralph and Sharon's catalog. It would be belonging to someone else who was either an elder
Well,
or a
this
deacon
Tante
or
Evelyn. This Tante Evelyn. This is her.
it might be hers, I don't know. But I would think more often, well, were there any dates written down in it?
No years. It was just May
No
12th,
years?
May
Okay.
11th. But
Okay.
Desti was mentioned, and I'm assuming she's still a child at this point.
More than likely. So it would either be a catalog. So more than likely, it was a transcript, whatever you want to call it, written by one of the elders. So that could have been Tante Evelyn. That could have been my grandma. Could have been hell. You know what? It could have even been my aunt or my mom. It could have been any of them. Depending on how old it is. If it doesn't have any dates, I really couldn't tell you because, like, if it was like pre 2005, more than likely it was the older ones. If it was after 2005, there's a good chance it was written by either my mom or my aunt. I'm not going to say names though because,
Right, that's
people
fine.
in anonymity. But yeah, so from what I've gathered, because I remember running into one. I can't remember whose it was, but I remember running into one and it had my dad, and again with the music at work, it had him written in it a few times, stuff like that. Basically, it's just like a record of people and their wrongs. I don't know to what purpose, just to keep track of who's the most evil. I don't know,
Evil.
but I yeah, that's the best insight I can give you. I really don't know a hell of a lot about them.
Well,
I've only
a lot of cults, specifically
Yeah, so I remember running into into one or two of them when I was younger. I guarantee you, if my mom had one, it's long burned or shredded. Probably my grandma's too. I don't know about everyone else's,
well,
but
it it was the one Jane Whaley
the name doesn't ring a
fronted.
bell.
It was North Carolina called. I can't remember the name
Yeah,
of it. We did an episode on it, but they would be required to
keep a
keep
record
tabs
of
on
their own
people,
sins. Yeah,
their own sins as well as
yeah,
other sins and stuff like that. Um,
yeah,
and so I mean that's common cult playbook and
yeah.
everything. And
Luckily, I was young enough that I guess I escaped most of that. I guess my because the whole thing was your age of accountability is 12, right?
yeah,
That was what's written in the Bible. That was the Jewish cultural age of accountability. So a lot of denominations and different sects of Christianity develop that as, the time you get baptized. That's when you get your first, your first big boy Bible, and that's when you start doing your own studying, and that's when you're accountable, right? So
right.
I think because I did say that I remember getting baptized by Arima, and I think I was able to escape a lot of that. I don't think I'm going to be mentioned in any of them. and that's more than likely why I have
Oh,
little to no
you're probably
access.
in one or two.
Oh, I might be. Who knows? Who
I
knows?
mean,
If they're around,
there was that candy bar that you tried to sneak into church that one day.
that's true. No, I
I
didn't
mean,
have. We didn't have candy as a kid.
even I know about that one. I mean
Yeah.
that was yeah. You're lucky. You're
No.
lucky you're not condemned
You
to
know,
hell for
you
that
know
one.
what, you know what I'd probably get in trouble for, and I'd actually like to touch on this because we've been an hour in, and it's kind of like I want to move on to kind of what I was to like
Yeah, I'm
the
sorry.
future effects, right? It's okay, it's okay.
I went a little far with the, with
Yeah.
the
Well, that's all right.
um,
It's important like
title log.
information. I wish I could have been more help, but it's important information, right?
But
But
it does show the level of like scrutiny that
yeah,
that everybody was kept under and everything. So
yeah,
just in that aspect, it's valuable to have it in the episodes.
yeah,
So definitely,
yeah. So obviously by this and by Desti's testimony, right, you kind of get a grasp of what her family dynamic was. It was not
right,
great, right?
right,
So she would be shifted from house to house in the church to kind of keep her away from the turmoil her parents were in, right? I'm sure there were other reasons for it too, separation control and other things. I'm sure there was other reasons for it, but the houses she'd spend most time with would be ours and then my aunt and uncle's. And so, obviously, from her testimony, she did not have a great experience with her brothers or with her parents.
right.
And
Remember that?
she was so hungry for a genuine familial connection of, love, care that didn't come with conditions or like a price she had to pay for them. And I'll go a little bit into why I was kind of the same way. No, nowhere near the degree she was, because compared to her, I had, a cakewalk, right? But her and I resonated a lot together in a lot of our struggles of feeling alone. And so she kind of became the sister I never had, and I became the brother she never had. But of course, you can see from Rima and her, deviant history, she will more than likely see everything as sexual. I don't know why, but it seems to come up a lot. So if I was written about in those books at all, more than likely it would be because I was too close, or like I may think I've like held her hand a couple times when we were like at the table or something
Sinner.
like that. Yeah. Oh, I might get her. Yeah. You know,
Uh, I mean, everybody knows
things
that's how
things
you
like
make
that.
babies.
Yeah, yeah, hold
Holding
hands and get
hands.
pregnant.
Yep.
Yeah. That's probably why they were so worried about it. They thought I'd get her pregnant or something. Ooh. Yeah, no. Yeah, so that was, if anything, that's probably what it would be for. And I got in trouble for that a few times. And uh, the the reason it was a few times is because, for one, I didn't know how to keep my head down, and for two, I was a I was a rebel. And when something I felt I needed was taken away from me, I'd act out. And
Yeah.
fair enough, family connection is something you need. And that was one of the biggest reasons why it was so damaging, was because my mom was kind of kept away from giving a, an actual family connection. My older sister would cook dinner a lot, like a lot, and she wasn't even like 11 years old when she started. Like she would cook like as a kid. That is unheard of. That's like pioneer family level shit, right?
Right.
Not even. And I didn't have a great relationship with my sister. It was great the first little bit, but once the family grew from the two of us to four, it I don't know what happened. Maybe she hit puberty and called it quits. I don't know what happened. Maybe she started, seeing how unfair her life was, having to be like, proxy mom to the rest of us, preparing meals and making sure the chores are all done, and that, kind of screwed with her. And I can understand that, and that's why I'm not mad at her for any of it. But
Right.
she kind of left being a sister around 10 years old or so is when I remember it happening. And we really, really didn't get along, which is really sad because right now we're great. Right now we're great. But we didn't really get along, and there was a lot of arguments, and we used to play together. We'd like play house, and she had dolls, and we played a messed up house. It was so bad. Maybe it was a reflection of our surroundings, but no. But no, we were like, thick as thieves for the longest time, and then it just all of a sudden went downhill. And having that ripped out was a it was a big thing for me, and I was trying to fill that hole. I was trying to find someone to fill that hole, and I found that in Desti. But because she wasn't blood family, and she was I guess, could like, if you're really messed up, a potential sexual partner to a 12-year-old. I mean, I
Well,
guess
I
you could
mean,
see that as misconduct, but
well,
like,
I mean, I this is. I mean, you were pretty high on the totem pole. Well, your family
my
was.
family was, or my mom was. My
So
dad was not a hot topic, though. I can tell you that much.
but there's a chance that Rima might have tried to pair you up with Desti, but
There was a chance. I think she was. If you read further into that, you might find something because both J and P were paired off with some other extended family who had left the church, and their job was to pray them back into the church so they could marry the daughters from that family. I'm 99% sure Desti had someone she was supposed to be with of one of those families. So I think
oh,
that was
okay.
probably also one of the problems because if we got too close, it would jeopardize that, right? It would
Well,
jeopardize the arrangement.
I do know that
Maybe.
I mean, there were kind of have to be arranged marriages, like in the cult that I was raised in, because you weren't allowed to associate with anybody else. Now, that being
Yeah.
said, um, yeah, there's one of the people who reached out to me after I released episode. I mean, those when I released those two episodes, they went crazy. They were, I
Yeah.
mean, they were found by survivors all over the world like immediately. And
Yeah.
but one of the people that found it was the daughter of the second pastor that was there when I was at the location that I was in.
Yeah.
And I was the oldest of the kids in that church. She was maybe 6, 7 months younger than me. So just based on ages and everything, if they were going to arrange a marriage, me and her would have probably been a
Been the
type of,
best fit.
but I wouldn't have gotten her
No.
because I was a rebel. I was fighting back. I
Yeah.
was pushing back. I was constantly getting in trouble with the church and everything for daring to think for myself. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten her. I would have gotten the other girl.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly why I think the whole arranged marriages things were
Actually,
such a
they might not have even paired me with anybody. They might have
yeah.
said that I didn't deserve a wife or
Well, I don't.
whatever.
Yeah, so to put it bluntly, I won't name names, but my mom and my dad, uh, they basically traded siblings. So my dad's sister married my mom's brother, so they traded siblings and became two families. So it's not incest, not incest. It's a instead of it's just a tiny extended family. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So I don't know how much that the journal will say there, but what I will tell you is I remember my dad. My dad was a little more on the mellow side. Like he was a little more of a follower. He always has been, but he did cause his own problems. He did cause his own strife. My uncle, however, who is my mom's brother, was very outspoken and still is. He was a big fighter. He stood up for his sisters all the time when his younger sisters when they were sidelined or when they were when someone had a dream about them that they had to do something giving of themselves for nothing. And so he was problematic for lack of a better term. So I really think that the whole sibling trade was arranged not only because it was literally arranged, but it was because they knew that my uncle being with my dad's sister, it would bring him down a bit. It would mellow him out because she was a very mellow, very quiet girl. And then my mom being with my dad, it would subvert him a little more and keep him in line because he loved her a lot.
Right.
He loves her a lot. And don't get me wrong, she loves him too, but because of the way she was the way she was raised, I don't think the relationship is 100% non-toxic. So
Right.
But you know what? It works for them. They're madly in love for each other. They have the four of me and my three siblings to show for it. Thank God they did, because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. But there was a degree of control put into arranging those marriages. Yeah, tools like I don't know what purpose the arranged marriages that didn't happen would have, but I can at least give you insight on those ones and why the marriages were done the way they were. It
For
was to
for clarification, arranged marriages did not happen in the cult that I was raised in. I just want to
Yeah.
put that. I was speaking hypothetically. I just got to say that in case somebody comes at me.
Oh,
Hey, they never had arranged marriages. Well,
yeah, no.
no, they didn't. But there's a lot of things that could have happened if the main cult leader hadn't died when he did.
Yeah.
And arranged marriages are probably one of them. But still, anyway, hashtag. But I digress.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So
so that being said, that was what probably one of the reasons why I would get in trouble, or one of the only reasons I was, seen as a threat or as a problematic person. But that also kind of played into, and I can kind of understand why, because you said that did you say something about a letter and someone's sexuality or something like that?
yeah, it was. Hold on, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, so
It comes off to me as hold on. Oops, I had it right the first time. Damn it. Okay. Well, I'll just read you the first paragraph. I mean, this sounds like a an arranged. This sounds like a man who was put into an arranged marriage, who was gay, and he was writing a letter after some time. It's dated 2011. It sounds like a man who was put into an arranged marriage who was writing to his former gay lover.
yeah, I can,
Um,
and here's the thing, I can kind of understand where it's coming from, because if you kind of put it into perspective,
well,
uh,
let me read it. I mean, I just I mean I let me see if you agree with what I'm saying, because obviously, dear blank, it's been a long time since I have seen you. I am not one for writing letters, but I wanted to say thank you. Or no, I wanted to say that you are. It's written in cursive.
oh really?
Yeah.
Well,
But
I can't read cursive.
no, I can.
Okay, I can a little bit.
It's just been a while. I just wanted to say that you are always on my mind and on my heart. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the these last 27, or you're always on my mind and on my heart these last 27 years. How it pains me to think of how much of a stumbling block I was to you, and how you fought equally to overcome the difficulties that were thrown at you. Personally, I don't deserve the blessings that the Lord has bestowed upon me. After
That's what
a
we like to hear.
while, after a sinful life that I lived, but I got it anyway. A beautiful, godly wife and partner in um, Joanne, two beautiful children in blank and blank, and of course our own dog, half lab. But still, I mean, it's just it. This doesn't sound like somebody reconnecting. This sounds like an ex reaching out to like
Yeah,
an old flame.
it really does. Yeah, I wouldn't know who it would refer to specifically. I have an idea of who wrote it, but I don't want to say names.
Well,
So
you were right in your assumption a
yeah,
minute ago.
I had
So
a feeling. But yeah, so I can kind of give a little bit of insight on that, because I had my own not to that degree, because I was still just a kid, but I had my own for lack of a better word, sexual reservations, because of the women in my life. They were either unable to be present, or they weren't that awesome. And I actually kind of have Desti to thank for kind of turning me around and being like, look, if you get out of here, not all the women are bad. Like,
Right.
and I found one. I found one. It was quite a few years later, and I married her and have a daughter with her. So,
So she was, so she was the one that what's Desi's husband? Well, no,
uh,
let's not say his name. Let's not say his name.
yeah, I
Um,
think you said it before, but yeah, he's a cool guy. I met him
yeah.
before. I met him before they like tied the knot and everything. He's a really nice guy.
Well, when after we got done doing the episode that she was on, I mean, we were talking afterward, and
Yeah.
I talked to him for a few minutes. I got mad respect for that guy, and you know, tell us about your wife and how she basically deprogrammed you.
Yeah. So, the part that I needed deprogramming from was less of the cult side and more of the attachment side because that is the dependency
Well, that's still
and
very much the cult
yeah,
side.
still very much the cult side. And unfortunately, because of my mom's bringing up, she carried that into her parenting as well, and there was a lot of control that and boundaries we had to work with because in the whole cult thing, boundaries were bad. Boundaries meant you were trying to put walls up to keep people away from your sin, right?
Right.
So there was a lot of boundary work that needed to happen, and she did say she was like ready to call it quits because I was that thick to get through, right? And yeah, so it was a lot of like I'm trying to give an example without being too personal or too open. Like it was, you know what? It was a lot of overstepping and behaviors that just weren't normal or weren't like conducive to heading towards marriage. I wasn't doing the whole leaving my father and mother thing. That was the biggest problem, and I will put onus on me for that too because I should have been able to. I was a grown ass man. I should have been able to kind of clue in, like, look, okay, I got to leave my mom behind, and
You were
her
like the
her her
you were like the like Ray and his brother on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Uh, yeah, more or less. Yeah, it was. You know what? That's actually a really good way of putting it, and
And
that's one of the jokes that her.
I wasn't even making jokes or anything like that. I was
No,
being
no, it's
serious
actually a
because
very good way of putting it because that's what her mom and dad said, and that's the picture they kind of gave
really,
me. Like, look, yeah, because they
holy
really love the
crap.
show. Yeah, so they said, look, you gotta get away from this because uh, and we are renting from them, so there is a degree of inclusion that we have with them, but they're very separate from our relationship, despite living in the same house. So that part is a nice aspect, and that was not what I was doing with my own parents. And
Right.
despite me like needing like, yeah, you should talk to married people who know more about marriage than you do, right? But it's a it's a two-way street. You can't have you can't have your parents being encroaching and dictating your marriage. You need
No.
input but not control, right?
Right. I mean, luckily, I never had that aspect of it with in my marriages, but
Yeah.
um, but I mean, I know people that have. I mean, I know people. I know a guy. I know a guy who divorced his wife because because her mother was just a constant, just like like she would just show up unannounced and just start bossing people, bossing both of them
Yeah.
around and everything, and and like she owned the place. It was like they were. It was like they were teenagers. He's like, I felt like I was, like when she would come and stay over, which is frequently, I felt like I was a teenager sneaking around to steal a kiss from her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was
and
that was a lot of the feeling that it was, and I get that a lot of it was being protective. I get a lot of it was, trying to keep me from making mistakes in my marriage. Thankfully, I didn't, but it was just a lot. It was just a lot of learning proper boundaries as a husband and wife to be, and working towards that. We went to marriage counseling. We did the whole nine yards with our pastor, making sure that we knew the direction we needed to go, and
so let me
acknowledging our
ask you a
parents.
question. Let me ask you a question. You mentioned current pastor. I
Yeah.
How what when you first went to that church and had a sit down with somebody, how did they handle the knowledge that you had come from a very destructive and dangerous cult?
the like talking to the pastor kind of thing.
Yeah, pastor, elder,
Uh,
whatever.
it was it wasn't. We didn't really go in depth into that kind of thing. It was very much it was just an accept and continue kind of thing. Like, look, you grew up in a cult. A lot of the theology it was an understanding of a lot of the theology I would have learned is probably either one biased or worse damaging, and getting into a environment where theology is not twisted before it's handed to you potentially was it was a bit of a learning curve and understanding because I was always taught to after that to kind of read the Bible through my own understanding, go and look at uh, all of them.
No, but the reason I asked you that is just like I do not feel comfortable stepping into a church.
I can
I
understand why. I could
my
definitely understand why.
my anxiety goes through the roof, and the last time I went to a church, I talked to somebody. I'm just like, okay, well, I've never tried this before. Let's just when you go to a new church, especially if it's a big church, I picked like a non-denominational church, real modern. I mean, the pastor had a bald head and tattoos.
Yeah.
I'm even then so I'm like, okay, let's just talk about it.
It was a separation of legalism from actual Christianity.
Right, so they want to so this guy comes up to me. I mean, they always want to talk to the new the
Yeah.
new faces that walk through the door. So I started, well, you know, I was raised in a cult, and therefore I don't feel comfortable in churches. Every now and then I'll look for a church, and here I am. Well, the guy didn't know how to handle me,
Yeah.
and I had even he was just like it made him so uncomfortable. He didn't even want to talk to me. He just like, all right, I left the oven on or something like that. I mean, that's not what he
Yeah.
said, but he might as well have. And I even filled out the little card asking for contact. Never got a phone call. So I'm like,
Yeah.
really? I'm like,
I,
okay, you're not going to expect, you're not going to accept somebody, that you're not going to show somebody that's been damaged by religion or a corrupted version of religion.
yeah.
You're not going to show them the same love that you would show just a random couple that decided to
Vagrant. Yeah.
say go from being a Baptist to something a little more, I don't know, liberal or whatever,
Yeah.
progressive, because that's what that church was. But it's just that, and that rubbed me the wrong way too. I'm just like, really? I mean, you're not a very good recruiter, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how isolated the experience is because it was like we never even hit a bump in the road when I told him, and it was like, all right, well, this and this is probably what you're dealing with. You can talk to me about what it's because we went through him for counseling, so it was more or less anticipated that there was going to be something, I guess, or maybe he heard worse. I don't know. It could have been just an isolated circumstance of someone who knew how to get around that. Or it might be even in your case an isolated experience of someone who's like shuts down every time they hear about a cult. Like I don't know,
I don't know. I mean, this guy
but
was acting. This guy, I could tell he was like a deer in the headlights when I started
yeah,
explaining. And
yeah,
I just barely scratched the surface with him.
yeah, no,
I mean,
yeah. Well, I haven't gone in. Oh, apologies. I didn't go in depth what a lot of the cult things were with him. I just kind of told him like a base, I gave him the rundown. We were basically a feminist IBLP, if you know what IBLP is.
I do not.
Institute of Basic Life Principles with Bill Gothard. I don't know if I think he's long stepped down because there was a lot of like child molestation allegations with him. The Duggar family. The Duggar
Oh,
family is a
okay.
part of the IBLP. movement.
Gotcha.
So
I
that's
haven't covered them
if I
yet.
could describe, yeah, if I could describe it, I'd say we were a feminist IBLP is the best way I could put it. And I
Mm,
didn't really go much
I
deeper than
would,
that.
I wouldn't really call that anything having to, relating to anything like the Duggars or whatever.
No.
This was a one person dictatorship
Oh, well, definitely, definitely.
that
No,
got out of hand big
yeah.
time.
Well, I'm just saying in the same way that Bill Gothard is very much like the god of his own making, kind of. A lot of like the theology and stuff that he builds his like principles from is twisted to benefit him or the men of the household or whatever it is. There's a lot of like dangerous theology that he teaches, right? And that's why I said it that way is because it was very much the same way of Rima taking theology and selectively or twisting it and then feeding it to the congregation in a way that would benefit her, such as like you have like the whole gift of dreams, like you have to have dreams or you're not in the spirit, because then if someone's not having dreams, she can single them out and say you're not in the spirit, someone else have a dream, and she can kind of control things, right?
Well, your dreams in science and real life, your dreams
Yeah,
are how your body repairs
yeah,
itself from the rigors of day to day
yeah.
life.
Going into REM. Or
Exactly.
whatever. Yeah. So I guess I'm not really in the spirit because I almost never have dreams, and the only dreams
Well,
that I
you
do
have them,
have,
you just don't remember
oh,
them.
well, okay, but the ones that I remember are always like really long, involved, like like choreographed movies. Like that's the best way I could put it. They have no, I cannot think of them having a single meaning. They
Yeah.
don't match at all the the people wearing clothes and facing in a direction that Tante Evelyn was dreaming. I'll tell you that much.
I rarely
So
remember my dreams. I dream a lot. I know I do because
yeah.
I'll remember them for like 20 seconds, and I can literally feel them deleting from my brain as I wake up. The only two that I remember, I have two recurring nightmares, and I remember
Yeah.
them every time I have it. But
I don't think I have recurring nightmares, thank goodness. I can't think
yeah.
of any that are like recurring dreams, except for like sick dreams. So that's another thing that I'd like to know. Like you know what I mean by a sick dream, where it's like the same little image that plays over the same little like thing that happens again and again and again and again and again. So like for
Yeah.
me, it was like a car crashing, I think is what my sick dream was. Very, very basic, like almost no color, very, and it's like I guess it's like your brain's interpretation of how you're feeling. So that's one thing I would be curious to know, like what is the cult take on that? Like what are you, what's the dream?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't be able to give any insight on that. But yeah,
But
so
still, I
anyways,
mean, she really took the whole thing about the young will have visions and the old will dream dreams or whatever it was. She really took that scripture to heart and
she took
basically,
the last half of it.
well,
Not
she
really the
she
first half.
she
Yeah,
weaponized it though. If
definitely,
having a
yes.
dream can be a sin, I mean, you know,
Having the wrong dream, yeah.
okay, what would she say if? Okay, I'm sure it happened. Somebody confessed having a wet dream. What happened then? It's serious
I
question.
couldn't tell
Serious
you. Yeah,
question.
no. And you know what? That's the most damaging part because some people, or a lot of people, uh, you know how your dreams only consist of faces and people you have seen, known, experienced. It can't
Yeah,
create new content,
it's
right?
not AI.
It's not AI. It doesn't generate. Yeah, so that random faced guy in your dream was some guy you saw, 5 years ago in passing in the grocery store. You don't know his name. You don't know where he's from. He's just a guy, right?
Right.
But it's all from memory. So that could be a serious problem involving wet dreams because a lot of people with wet dreams, it's a like a family member usually is what it like your first ones consist of. So I can see that being a huge problem, and I don't know how they would have handled that because I have not heard of it. I don't remember hearing about it,
I'm sure it
and
happened. I'm
I
sure it
guarantee you it's
happened.
happened. I'll have to see about that because I if someone had confessed about a wet dream, I'm sure they didn't confess about all of it, and it was more or less probably ruled as, you had a dream about sexual immorality and you need to repent, and you got
Yeah.
whatever the abbreviation was there, CD'd, and then you
Exorcism.
had yeah, exorcism, and whenever you repented, then you were good to go, I guess.
Yeah, but you still had that stigma.
Yeah.
You could talk to Rima about something. It's like, okay, yeah, I noticed this, and this. Oh, shut up! You're that pervert that
Yeah.
has the wet
Yeah.
dreams.
Exactly.
I thought, wait, I thought
That
I
would
was
be an issue.
forgiven. Yes, but we don't
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah. Well, what did it say there? You the not forgiven by the whatever because of the green shirts or something. Yeah.
That green
So yeah,
shirt
that
thing.
so
That
yeah,
green
that be
shirt thing like threw me for a loop, and then I noticed you're wearing a green shirt.
yeah, I guess I'm in big trouble. I don't
Sinner.
know. Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm
yeah,
wearing a
that being
black
said,
shirt.
she really oh, I don't know what that means. It's probably bad though. Probably bad. A heart of darkness, who knows?
Well, I am a metalhead.
Yeah. So yeah, I do really have my wife to thank for kind of more or less changing my more or less changing my habits rather than, getting me out of the whole cult thing. Because I was already starting to wake up. I already had like my reservations and I was already like, ugh. But
Yeah, well,
she
well,
really helped me with a lot of like, it
Desti's
wasn't
hus
just,
Desti's
sorry.
husband basically went to church with her and like basically put
Yes.
himself as a barrier between
Yeah.
between Desti and anybody that would have anything to do with it. Basically,
Yeah.
this ends here. She,
Yeah.
you know, that and as long as I don't want her to be here, but as long as she's going to be here, I'm going to be here with her, and you're going to have to deal with me. And fucking mad respect for that dude.
Yeah. Oh,
But
hands down.
so what so what did tell us what she did that
Uh,
deprogrammed
yeah.
you?
So luckily she never had to, because the church had dissolved by then, and that was after we had moved and after my parents were in their new church, serving in their own little areas. Luckily she never really had to deal with that. Thank goodness. She probably would have left me long ago for all that craziness, but no, thank goodness. And a lot of it was just um, helping me reform my priorities for one, prioritizing her above, my family and all that, helping me with boundaries and not letting people encroach into our lives more than they should, or into our morals or whatever part of
Your
our lives.
parents.
Yeah, just yeah, that was the biggest one. I can't even remember. I don't even remember off the top of my head what specific things were a problem. I just remember that there were boundaries that really needed to be put in place. I don't even remember. My brain's probably shut it out because it was really emotionally like difficult to deal with, and there was a lot of tears, a lot of fights, and a lot of stuff like that that happened because of it. So, but yeah, no, she was really patient through the whole thing. She stuck with me because she knew that I was the one, and I knew that she was the one. So,
That's nice. That's awesome.
oh no, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I have her to thank for pretty much everything. And yeah, so she was the one who kind of pulled me out of my dependency, but I was already starting to wake up. She was the one who kind of showed me, look, this isn't just bad, this is horrible.
Right.
And I'm still to this day, I'm still finding out things like I don't know if I mentioned it, but this is one thing that Rima would do. Uh, she would whenever we were done church. Church lasted like it was an indeterminate amount of time. I remember going in the morning and coming out, and it was dark, and it was not winter.
Hmm.
So yeah, I remember, being taken out of the sanctuary as a kid and like playing toys with one of the older teenagers who would babysit us just to keep us from falling asleep and shit. I remember actually being put in the back on a blanket and sleeping when I was little, but that's how long they lasted. But anyways, I remember like we would say goodbye to Rima at the end. All the kids would line up because she loved the kids, and I
Well, they're
remember
the
that
future. She
they're the
believed
future.
she
Yeah.
believed that the children are the future, and she
Well,
should
they
teach
are
them
in their own
well
way.
and
Yeah.
let them lead the way,
Yeah.
and then
So
enslave them and deprive them of all the beauty they possess inside.
yeah, so I do remember she would take me she would when I hugged her goodbye, she would hug me back, of course. But then as I was like pulling away, she would take her hands and like grab me on the sides of my face and pull me close and whisper in my ear, "Best horse in the stable." And I thought that just meant she had she just like thought I was just a little mischievous kid, and she thought I was like a good kid, I guess. That's what I figured it meant. But
Now,
apparently it has.
with the stories about what happened with Ricky and Rima, She may have had some. If those are
Yes.
true, she may have had some designs on you as well.
Yes. So I was only like 6, 8, maybe 10 when she would do that. Probably because I
She
remember
don't
she would do
care.
it all the time. Yeah, I
She
know.
don't care.
I know, but and that's another reason why I think it was a little more towards the deviant side of things because the that phrase "best horse in the stable" originated along the east coast in high
For a
society,
stud.
like
For a
yeah,
stud
studs.
horse. Yes.
Not just for that, not just as a stud horse is the best horse in the stable. It was another. It was popularized among like the you know how the gentlemen's clubs had like the call girls and stuff like that, and like you'd go there, drink alcohol, watch strippers, and it was even in like the 1850s, it was still a thing, right? It
Well,
was a
it's still a
gentleman's
thing
club.
today.
Well, still a thing today, but like even in the days of like modesty and properness, it was
Right.
still a thing, right?
Right.
So they also had the feminine equivalent where you could go as a woman and you'd have like call boys, and of course, male prostitutes were a thing, especially for female high society. And it was a term used around, it was, I can't remember, somewhere in the New England area where it was really popular, more than likely somewhere around Boston or one of the huge cities. But it was a New England thing where the best horse in the stable was the most handsome call boy. He had the biggest package. He was, the best endowed. Like, again, stud horse, right?
Yeah.
So it not only is it like a farming meaning, in a sexual way. Well, I guess as sexual as you can make horse breeding, but it was also it was also a term for the prostitution world. So that really sours it and leads me to think, even if she meant it in a like, you're a good kid and I like how you are, it's still a little weird, right? Like you could have used any other term and that's the one you choose. So
I mean, she could have said, "You're going to grow up to be a handsome man," and there would have been
yeah, she could
nothing.
have
There
said
would have
that.
been nothing creepy about that,
Yeah. Well,
But coming from her,
yeah.
but still, I mean, that's harmless. You know,
Yeah.
um, well,
Yeah,
it
no, but
could it could be weaponized, but still, for when an adult says that to a kid, it's harmless more often than
yeah.
not.
Yeah. But this might change a little bit of the perspective though, because it turns out that I wasn't the only one she did it to. She also did it to my cousin, my dad, one of my uncles, and someone else. I can't remember who. But the thing that we all have in common is we all have blonde hair and we all have blue eyes and we're all like tall and fair.
Oh, so
So we
she's a
all
Nazi.
I guess I don't know. I mean, I thought she fought for the other side, but who knows?
I know. That's kind of where I was
She
going
likes
with
the
that.
she like yeah. So that was what I was told when I because I told someone about it and they were like, yeah, you weren't the only one she did that to. I was told not to talk about it because it was a very partial thing, but she did it to all the blonde-haired, blue-eyed boys in the church, and I was like, ooh. It's a
Interesting.
little weirder, a little more
Yeah, it's
interesting.
like okay,
So I wasn't specifically special. It was all the blonde hair, blue eyes, which is more of like a type thing, which makes it a little more on the sexual side.
yeah, and as
Yeah,
as my original co-host Todd would say, the plot thinnens.
yeah,
R.I.P. Todd. But anyway,
yeah. No, it's
but
yeah. So that was just yet another one of those strange things. I can't remember where I was exactly going with that. Oh, how did that come up? I was trying to make a bigger point.
we were talking about how your wife
Right.
basically deprogrammed you,
Yeah.
and
So
it was basically talking about the conditioning and all that stuff that
yeah.
Rima had put you through.
So the point I was trying to make, I'm still learning things today. I'm still discovering things. Like I'd love to take a look at that. What did you call it? The
Well,
tattle.
you called it the catalog, and I like that.
Yeah, the catalog. Yeah,
It,
yeah. I'd really like to see whatever that is, and I might be able to give you more insight on like names and stuff. But other than that, it's
I'll send
just
it to you.
it's just it's just oh what's the word like paraphernalia for me to collect and be like over.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Like
The only types of stuff that I have is stuff like that, are
oh,
like mountains of cassette
you're
tapes and
buffering.
everything. I don't have any, but I know people who do. Uh oh.
There we go. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, my internet dropped. Sorry, my bad. Mark
No
it on the
worries. I thought
clock.
it was mine at first because of what
No,
happened
the
earlier.
same, same. But I was like, oh, why'd mine go all of a sudden? It just kicked me for no reason. Full bars, but it just kicked me. Sorry about that.
No
Uh,
worries.
yeah, so I'm still learning to this day things that happen, and I'm always open to learning more. And just like you said, you were just like in the case where you said you were ragging on Desti's parents until you found out later on the whole big picture. Cause and I know like it's never black and white. There's always other collateral and things you got to consider. But I still agree. Like there's always a villain, right?
Right.
So and I'll give you an example. Like my dad, he lost his biological father because at least the story that I heard ever since I was a kid was, he walked out because he didn't want to be around the Lord anymore. And of course that wasn't true at all.
Yeah, that's never the case. No,
Yeah.
no Christian says, I'm going to leave this church because I just don't believe in God anymore. I mean, that's
Some do, but like it
well,
was
yeah,
definitely wasn't in this case because he's
right,
still very much a born again believer, and yeah. Uh, I won't give you the full details because it's not my story to tell, but long story short, he couldn't get my dad and his sister out because my grandma was too tied into the whole cult. I don't know. It was probably fault on both sides because I know that he did have his own struggles with alcoholism and some anger. But I know that Rima is a huge manipulator, and she is more than happy to use people's faults against them to split families, to control things. And I can guarantee you, I just got my dad just got back in contact with him recently, and I met him for the first time, and he's a really nice man. He's godly for sure, and I I just can't imagine him being everything that I was told he was. And my dad's told me the truth too. Like, look, it wasn't all that. There was a lot of manipulation, and yeah. So it's once again a scenario of okay, I thought this was what happened. I learned more. Wait a minute, so and so wasn't the villain. It was this guy. It was this woman over here. She was the villain, and she used this for her own benefit once again.
right.
And I think a big part of it was he would have posed a threat because he was a very headstrong man, and he would have been like, "I'm not going to stand for this. Wife and kids, come with me. We're getting out of here." But it's a very, I don't know exactly what the allure of it was because Rima was very good at controlling people, but her favorite was obviously women. Obviously, because she chose women as all of her tops, and all of her top dogs were women. All of her right hand men were women, and she controlled the families via the women. And if the husband didn't stay, which is very unbiblical, by the way, very unbiblical. I don't know how that flew with anyone, but once again, I got to learn more, right? So,
Well, yeah, I kind of take issue with that as well as that.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right. It is non-biblical, but at the same time, just because that's how it was written in the Bible about women should be, shouldn't have any
yeah.
roles in the church and
Well,
everything.
no,
That was a product of the time.
yeah,
It was,
and
and that's not the way that it is now. And
no,
and just saying that doesn't mean that the
no,
churches
it
that
doesn't.
let women into positions of power or authority or whatever are somehow sinning because they're
No,
not. It's
but it's
just
a flip to the other side
right,
of that spectrum of, control and domination because it was basically the opposite of what the Pharisees had in their social circles to
right.
once again control the masses because if you can control the men, you control everyone, right?
If you control the women, you control everybody because the
Yeah.
women control the men.
Well, if it was more of a, do you want peace in the household or do you want to split like this family over here?
Right.
If you don't want to split, then you follow what your wife says.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
And
still,
yeah,
we all know the truth that women control everything. It's just
yeah.
they let men pretend that they do, and oh man, nah, that
No,
was tongue in cheek. That was tongue in cheek with an element of truth.
yeah. Is there any other insight specifically you wanted, or can I just like kind of round out the story and close up?
You can round it out. My biggest thing, because I mean, we covered the meat and potatoes of the cult in the first
Yeah.
episode. We got more insight with it, like other things that happen like toward the end, and then like after the book ends, and then bringing us up to like Rima's death and whatnot
Yeah.
with Desti and everything, as well as her experience. You're kind of going beyond that and everything because it seemed like it had a hold on you longer
Yeah.
than it did her.
Well, she
And
was just out of it sooner.
right.
It still has a hold on parts of it that I got away from still has a hold on some of my siblings and cousins, and a lot of extended family still hold parts of the cult close, either out of habit or out of, a better time for them. I really couldn't tell you
Well, I
what
can,
reason it would
well,
be.
and I can identify with that too, to a degree. Not anymore. I mean it. I mean I'm free of the shackles and everything for more, for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, every now and then I'll see certain things that like, okay, that's sacrilegious, and it kind of
Yes.
strikes a chord with me a little bit. Not, but I can remember one time I went and saw Judas Priest in concert, um, late '90s. I was the lead singer of a popular heavy metal band at the time, but I
Yeah.
went and saw Judas Priest and everything. But because of all the stigma that they got and everything about being satanic, and I knew it wasn't true, but going
Yeah.
to
It
see
was
it,
just
there
edginess.
there was a little something in my head. I can remember being there at the concert. It's just like, oh, this would have gone over really well.
Yeah.
you
No.
know
There is a lot of those reflections. Like, Yeah, because well, even for me, like I listened to like I don't know exactly what happened, if it was a product of my rebellious nature, and yeah, so you know the whole music thing, like I told you, like we weren't allowed to listen to anything harder than, a cappella, right?
right.
So I don't know if it's a result of not being allowed to do that, but my music taste developed like really quickly as soon as we were out of the cult, and I went from, like of course light rock, and some of it was secular, most of it was still Christian though. But
Right.
it went very, very quickly from rock to hard rock to heavy metal to like metalcore to like the heaviest stuff you can find, and some of it's
Yeah.
really great.
Well, some
But
of the my journey was, because I started playing guitar in the
yeah,
cult. If it hadn't been for the cult, I might not have become a guitar player. And I freaking love playing guitar.
yeah,
That's like my passion. I mean, I'm a singer too, but I consider myself a guitarist first, a singer second. But 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 I started off, gravitating, and when I started listening to like secular music and everything, it was country, because that was similar to what I was playing and everything.
yeah,
And that's how I really started learning to advance on guitar, rather than just the three chords that I was shown,
yeah,
to play along with the hymns in church and all that stuff. But then later on, I guess around the time I was 14 or 15, I got in, a friend of mine knew the crazy church that I was in, and it was like very close to being over with at that point. But they handed me a
yeah.
Striper album and said, "Listen to Soldiers Under Command by Striper," and they're like, "Listen to this." So I listened to it, and I was just like blown
Blown away,
away.
yeah,
And
right.
at that point, a metalhead was born. and
Yeah,
it's
no.
like,
Like like for me, the one that I still listen to it. I found them like 4 or 5 years ago for today, and I just got back into listening to them because I just forgot how good the message of all their songs were, and I really want to see if I can find it, because the band went on indefinite hiatus in like 2018 or something.
well, they're probably on Spotify.
Oh, they're on Spotify, but
Oh,
I
okay.
want the physical album. I listen to them all the time.
Oh, okay.
But I want the physical album, the Breaker album, and the whole album follows the lead singer's journey of sinner to saved. and he tells how he was addicted to all these things, and he was held by all of his demons, and how conviction came, and how he went through the valley, and how he came out on the other side, and he had it's his life commission now to and he's a pastor now, right? And how just a really every single song was its own little piece of the story. Every single one was every single one was powerful in its own way. And if it weren't for the metalcore vocals and the music itself, it probably would have been like it would have been hailed in the cult. But because
Yeah.
it was metalcore and screaming, it's no good. And
Well,
that's the biggest thing that I've found with a lot of cults. It's it's just all legalism. It's finding using laws and rules to keep misinterpretation, to keep people down, to keep people like subservient, like the whole marriage thing. Like I don't know what verse they like to use, but for soulmates and for like there's only one in the world for you, and you got to know it's the one because if this isn't the one, then God's not going to ordain your marriage, right?
uh,
So and then you can weaponize that by pairing people up. This is the one that God has chosen for you. Well, I don't know.
exactly.
I had a
Yeah.
dream about it. And it's using all of these legalistic rules and control of I know what God says and you don't, to control all these people. And that is honestly that is the my biggest thing that I've learned from all this is uh, it's a lot less in everything is a lot less insidious than you think it is, and control is much easier to get than you would assume. So
Right.
be careful who you follow, be careful who you believe, and not there comes a danger when you start trying to like live by your own theology, but try to find someone who you know what? Pastor, I think his name's Pastor Brett or something like that. He has this term that he says at the end of every sermon he does. He does sermons down in somewhere in the States, but he posts them all to YouTube. Really great pastor. But at the end of every single sermon, he says, don't take my word for it. Read your
Read,
Bibles."
read for
And
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, and that's and it even
Because
even outside of a
whether it's a
theological
cult,
standing.
whether it's a cult or not, whether it's a
Yeah.
cult or just a church, I mean, you can make the argument that all churches are a little bit culty,
Oh
but
yeah.
but they're not like destructive or anything like that. But still, it's just if you when you break it, when you really look at it, anytime you go to a church service, you are hearing the pastor's interpretation of the Bible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like Hobart Freeman, my cult leader, I mean, he would take scriptures and everything and twist them into whatever he wanted them to
Yeah.
mean. Rima did the same thing. All of them do the same thing,
The
you know.
funniest thing, the funniest
And
thing is she actually gave an example of something like that happening and it being bad. She said that she had these. I remember she'd tell the story. These two men who used to hang out in front of her church, and they would hand out cigarettes to her congregation at that time and say, or maybe it was blunts or something like that because of weed. And they said, they were Rastafari. I think it was because they were Rastafarian or something like that, and it was a whole like Jesus with weed movement, and they were trying to say, the only way to know Jesus is through, ascending via getting high, right? And they said, oh, it's because the smoke filled the temple, and that's what they were, breathing in, and that's how they got close to God. And it's like, that's just an excuse to
Jesus was
get
a
high.
stoner.
That's just an excuse to get high, guys.
Yeah,
You're not fooling anyone here. And that's the irony of it. She even pointed it out despite doing it herself.
right.
And
Exactly.
so
Well,
yeah,
see, rules for thee, but not for me.
yes,
So,
yeah.
well,
There
I
was
mean,
oh, I'll share another funny anecdote that I remember. I can't remember how old I was. Again, I have a goldfish memory for this stuff. I must have been young, but I remember one Thanksgiving dinner we did, and it was giving thanks for all the blessings we have as living in the West, opposed to persecuted Christians in Africa, Asia, places like that. So in solidarity, we were eating. We said our Thanksgiving dinner, instead of being a big spread potluck thing that we usually did, it was just going to be a bowl of plain white rice. And that's the whole congregation ate that. Men, women, children, everyone, except for Rima.
And she had
And
turkey.
no, she had a loaded baked potato. I remember the loaded baked potato, but I asked Desti about it. But apparently, after all the kids were sent home, because she was part of the young adults group, I was still a kid at that point. And apparently, after all the kids left, she was cooked like a steak and a bunch of other stuff because her blood pressure was low or something.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was yeah, rules for thee, but not for me.
Well, Hobart Freeman, I mean, he would preach that going to doctors was a sin for anything,
Yeah,
but he even using crutches was a sin for a broken leg or something.
yeah,
But he had polio and he walked with an elevated shoe.
yeah,
Rules for thee, but not for me.
yeah.
So I mean, an elevated shoe is the exact same thing as a crutch.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Yeah, no,
yep.
it's a lot of weird stuff. Like well, you remember how you said the whole hospital thing wasn't allowed? It was very the whole faith healing. Yes, that's true, but I got it was either 4 or 6, maybe it was even 8 stitches when I was a kid.
That wouldn't
Uh,
have flown. That wouldn't have flown in
no,
Faith
it
Assembly.
well it would have been a really bad show. So remember Desti said that she called like the children's aid the slipperies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she didn't want. So obviously, you don't want the slipperies finding out that you have a 6-year-old doing your firewood, right?
Right.
Because questions will arise. Because that's what happened. We were doing firewood. There was a stray piece of wood that was thrown. I happened to be in the path of it. 6-year-old Danny, and I got clocked in the side of the head. I still have a scar here to this day. Or is it this side? I don't know. It's mirrored in
Uh,
the picture. I can't see it.
I don't know where that came from, but it happened. It. Well, for those of you listening to audio, I'm talking. I'm pointing to a huge scar on my chin,
Yeah, it looks like a
and
weird dimple.
no, it's
Yeah.
a scar, and I don't know where the hell it. I no clue, and I have another one on the side of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
and
I think so a lot of the rules for the not for me were bendable on the condition of hiding things, controlling things. It was and that once again shows the corruption of it. Like you can't have rules and then not follow them only when they don't benefit you, right?
right.
Yeah, so that's kind of my insight of growing up. Like I could go into the future bit of it, but it's kind of boring. Past me being like 15 years old, nothing really happens. It's more or less just people growing and realizing that things are stupid, and me getting my first job outside of the family, and it's really not interesting again until I meet my now wife.
Yeah, well,
So yeah, that's
she's she deprogrammed you this, awesome, the same way,
yeah,
she was there for you. She put up with your bullshit
yeah, thank
because she
goodness.
loved you, and well, she loves you.
Yeah.
I said loved past tense. No, she loves you,
No, she still does, thankfully.
and that's freaking awesome. I'm happy for the two of you.
Yeah.
Obviously, the same as I'm happy for the for Desti
Yep.
and her husband. I
Yes.
want to say his name, but I don't know. I don't know if
Don't
he.
know if it's
I
cool.
don't know
Yeah.
if yeah. but but anyway, Ralph. No, damn it, that blew up in my face. That was just the first name that popped into my head. I was just gonna throw a fake name out there, but it
Yeah.
shouldn't be
No, that one
Ralph.
doesn't work. That doesn't
No,
work.
that one doesn't work.
You can call him.
We'll call him Dean. Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Dean.
that's a really bad one.
Oh, damn it! You're right. Fuck.
Call him. Oh, I don't know. Call him Corey or something.
Corey. Yeah, that
Does
works.
that work? Yeah.
Yeah,
There.
that works. Like, holy crap! I just had two really bad ones right out of the
I
gate.
know,
It's like,
right?
what the hell? It's just like,
You couldn't have made it worse. You couldn't have made it any worse.
oh damn.
All right. Yeah. It might be just a little too late. It's 9:11 here. Yeah.
No, we're in the
So.
same time zone.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's right. That's right.
so,
I keep thinking you're like in the out west. I don't
no,
know
I'm in
why.
Florida, man.
That's right. That's right.
I am a Florida man. I'm a
Yeah.
crazy Florida swamp lizard, and right now I am in misery because we are in cool drought weather,
Oh
and
yeah,
I need
that's
I need
sucky.
my humidity, and I'm like, ugh. I don't know if you're
Skin's
in.
drying up. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're a Doctor Who fan, but for those of for those who are, the moisturize me.
Yeah.
I've said that
Was that
3
the
times
one? Is
today.
that the freaking one where it's like the genetically perfect woman or whatever, and she's
Yeah, and
like
it's just a
stretched out on a
skin.
tanning sheet?
Yeah,
Yeah. Ugh.
moisturize me. But that's
Yeah,
how I
it
feel
comes
right now.
with.
Moisturize. My skin feels so freaking tight that it feels like it's gonna pop. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
I need my humidity.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, no.
So
So yeah, that's basically the long and short of it. You know what? If I had more info, it would be 10 years down the road before I could give you more.
oh, no worries.
I plan on doing a lot of digging, so probably by then it won't even be interesting or relevant anymore. But you know what? At least there's a little bit more of the story out there,
Well,
right?
if
And you
you
said you got your letter and your journal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't. I'm gonna ask that person if they want to come on. But they wanted to be anonymous, so they probably
All
don't.
right.
But I mean, if you know of anybody that was like old school,
Yeah.
that went through like the worst of it, and
Yeah.
everything, I'd like to talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think there would be anybody at least in the older groups. I do plan on I you know what? The best I can probably give you is a typed out written like synopsis or transcript of the interviews I'm going to do because I do plan on asking around and getting the truth. And it's going to be like a layer by layer truth, like ask this from this person, ask that from that person, ask this from this person. When they lie to me, give these two people's testimony and say, I don't think that's true because this person said this, and basically feed down the whole ladder so I can get a concise, truthful, all-encompassing like story on exactly what happened. So I know
well,
exactly what to avoid, what to yeah.
let's go ahead and wrap it up and everything. But
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you once I stop recording, but because I have an idea. But
Yeah.
anyway, thanks Dan for coming on and
Oh, no
sharing your
problem. It's my
story. I mean, that
pleasure.
was that was really informative. I mean, it goes perfect. It's a perfect bookend to what Desti shared and everything. I
Yeah.
feel like we have a like a legit
A full volume. Yeah.
volume of 3 different stories of about this cult now, which is awesome. So yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. No problem, man. I appreciate you having me on here and willing to hear me out, especially on such short notice. It was a little bit of
Oh,
bad
no
communication,
worries.
but we made it happen.
No
We made it
worries.
happen.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks everybody for listening. Like, share, subscribe, review, do all the stuff and everything. Please leave us if you like the show, and I know there's a lot more people out there that like the show that don't. So if you like it, come on, give me some reviews because the people that don't like it, they're making their voices heard.
Yeah.
But my 5 stars greatly outnumber my 1 stars. So I know you guys like the show. Please drop us a comment, please. So anyway, we have at the time of this episode releases, there'll be part 2 of Israel Keys with History Goon, and then after
Yep.
that, Sandra will be coming back to the show as well, and we'll be proceeding as normal. So it's
Yeah.
been a while since we've been, on. Oh, look at the little.
Yeah. She's not wanting to sleep. I think her teeth are bothering her.
Oh, she's teething. Oh.
Yeah.
But anyway, until next time, later. Say bye.
Oh. Bye.